Shoshone-Bannock Tribes 477 Human Services Department Orientation 2022. Shoshone-Bannock Tribes 477 Human Services Department Orientation 2022. Welcome. Shoshone-Bannock Tribes 477 Human Services Department Orientation. At this orientation, you will learn what the department has to offer and the service limits, when services are available, where services are available, who is eligible for services under the 477 program, how to access services. We will also talk about your responsibilities throughout the process. We encourage you to ask questions as we go along. What is the 477 Human Services Department? The department is a consolidated program approved by the Fort Hall Business Council. The original consolidation occurred in 1994. Services under the department include 477 services, education, employment, training, and related services, cash assistance for individuals, families, and caretaker relatives, consumer services program, vocational rehabilitation program, tribal youth education program, adult protection program, and the tribal library. Who is the 477 program? Lori Pavitsy is the director of the 477 program. For the TANF, Michelle Figueroa is TANF manager, Debbie Dixie is TANF MIS officer, Sally Ann Jack case manager, Nadine Ock case manager, Luana Skunkcap case manager, Marina Fasthorse case manager, Fernanda Shea case manager, Lacey Whelan project coordinator, records technician. For the TYEP department, Dana Hernandez tribal youth education manager, Juanita Farmer liaison K through 6, Kendra Benally liaison 7 through 12, Patricia Johnson student support specialist, Luida Benally after school teacher. For the Consumer Services Department, Dustin Davis is the Consumer Services Manager, Tyrell Buckskin, Weatherization Repairman, Michelle Perdash, Budget Technician, Winona Boyer, Administrative Assistant, Deshana Atsity, Record Clerk, TANF Front Desk. Who is the 477 program? Adult Protection Services, Marcia Hall, Adult Protection Worker, Velda Evening, Adult Protection Worker. For the EET, Educational Employment and Training Program, Jessica James is the Education Manager, Ida Bronco, Management Info Systems Officer, Education Case Manager, Jamie Stevenson, ABE GED Instructor, Roseanne Abrahamson, Employment Specialist, Johanna Whiteplume. For the Vocational Rehabilitation Program, Ramona Medicine Horse is the Director, Marie Gonzalez, Administrative Assistant, Candace Racehorse, Senior Counselor, White Otter Goggles, Employment Specialist, Tracy Cree, Outreach and Budget. For the 477 orientation, this can be viewed online for the time being. A link will be given to you for the YouTube video by your case manager. If you do not have access to a computer, it can be viewed in the computer lab. Who is exempt from orientation? Elder clients who are 62 years of age and older, and those who have a documented disability. Information packets will be provided to those clients. Note, if you are coming in to view the orientation on behalf of someone else and you are not the primary client, please let the case manager know that you're viewing it for the client. Updates you need to know. Everyone will need to fill out a 477 application for any kind of service that you are requesting. Orientation will now be mandatory for everyone that is requesting services. For the Consumer Services Priority System, on October 1st, only elders over 62 and documented disabled clients can apply for essential services. On November 1st, families with children under 6 will be able to apply for essential services for energy, rental, and emergency services. On December 1st, everyone that is eligible to apply for all the services can apply. What are the 477 Human Services goals? Number 1, to increase access to opportunities for education, employment, training, and related services for the resident eligible population. Number 2, to reduce joblessness. Number 3, assist and support individuals and family effort to become self-sufficient and responsible for their family and children. Number 4, to strengthen the tribe's ability to reach tribally determined goals consistent with the policy of Indian self-determination. Number 5, to reduce barriers to promote healthy lifestyles and cultural activities significant to the Shoshone-Bannock tribal culture, teachings, and traditions. Number 6, provide academic support to youth in grades K through 12 through the support of services that will increase Native students' ISAT scores and increase the student graduation rates. Address issues that contribute to student absenteeism and the student dropout rate. The 477 Human Services Program is designed to help community members in becoming self-sufficient and responsible for themselves, their family, and children through training, education, and gainful employment. Some of the assistance that we have are temporary cash assistance, case management services, supportive services, personal basic needs, adult education GED, higher education scholarship, rental assistance, adult protection, workforce training, short-term training, job readiness, work experience, employment assistance, technical training, summer youth program, after-school program and tutoring, energy assistance, weatherization repairs, emergency services, budget counseling, culture prevention activities, community events, and also the tribal library. Please be advised we are a zero tolerance zone. All 477 locations and surrounding areas are zero tolerance zones. Persons under the influence of alcohol or illegal substance will not be authorized for services and checks will not be released. Individuals who are forcibly assault, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes with any of the 477 staff or person will be asked to leave. This applies to all programs. If this behavior happens to one program, this means it happens to all programs. When necessary, the Fort Hall Police will be notified and charges may be filed. This could also prevent you from being allowed to use our services. The 477 application. One application must be submitted per year. Every request may require updated information if the family has changed. Tribal identification or certificate of Indian blood, social security cards for 477 eligibility, not for tribal member services, personal identification, birth certificate or other ID, income for the past 30 days for LIHEAP, income for the past 6 months for 477. Everything listed above is required for all members listed in the household. Verification of residency and number in the family. If you already filled out an application and need another service, you must fill out a service request with supporting documentation. Applying for services. If you are applying for the 477 services like temporary cash assistance, education, or training services, you will need to fill out supplemental packets. Must pick up from the intake office. Details will be given to you in your packet at orientation. If you are applying for vocational rehabilitation services, you must meet with the vocational rehabilitation front office directly and fill out a different application. Eligibility for vocational rehabilitation services will be different than the 477 programs due to their unique requirements for determining services. Documents you will need. The 477 application requires the following supporting documentation for all listing applicants: personal identification, social security card, third-party verification, proof of residency, either a utility bill, rent receipt, or other, verification of income, for male applicants at least 18 years of age, your selective service registration number. Contact information. Please have a working telephone number or message number if you are applying for services through 477. Please put your phone number down on your 477 application and also on the service request form whenever doing a new request. Not having a working or reliable message phone can delay your services or determination for eligibility for other services. The case managers will regularly contact you, so please have a working phone number or a phone number you can leave a message at. With a new area code being in place, please put down your area code with your phone number. Eligibility for 477 services. Applications may be submitted to the 477 offices in the old Fort Hall Casino. Applications that are incomplete will be sent a notice or contact will be made by phone to inform you of what documents are needed to complete your application. Eligibility will be determined when an application is complete. If you are eligible for other 477 services and this was part of your request, you will be notified by your assigned case manager. Continued eligibility for 477 services. When all documentations and the application is completed, then your application will be forwarded to the appropriate program for processing. Send any information or supporting documentation to only the front office staff. To avoid being misplaced or lost, please keep paperwork together and orderly. The staff will not accept any applications with missing incomplete paperwork or missing supporting documentation. Eligibility for each request does not constitute approval of services. The approval of services will be determined when you meet with your case manager. Personal Responsibility Contract. All clients that are requesting 477 services must enter into a PRC. A PRC is a contract between 477 and the participant. The PRC outlines the goals and steps the participants will take towards achieving self-reliance. The PRC identifies expectations an individual must meet for continued services. The PRC contract is customized to each participant depending on their unique goals. The 477 client will be held accountable for fulfilling the required goals set between the client and the program. Failure to follow the PRC may result in suspension of services until they are back in compliance. Education, employment, and training. Education, employment, and training services are designed to provide academic, technical education, work skills training, work experience, and job placement services. EET provides higher education scholarships to Shoshone-Bannock tribe members. Funding for vocational degrees, certifications, apprenticeships, or equivalent. Who does EET service? Enrolled members of a federally recognized tribe, Alaskan or Hawaiian Native, must be a resident of the Shoshone-Bannock tribe's service area. This demonstrates the services requested shall lead to employment and self-sufficiency. Higher education scholarships. Semester or quarterly scholarships, travel stipends, case management, FAFSA assistance, information on other scholarships, supportive services, books and supplies depends on eligibility and financial aid assistance, just for enrolled Shoshone-Bannock tribal members, ISU internships and apprenticeships. Vocational technical training. Eligible members of all federally recognized tribes, information on scholarships, supportive services, monthly or weekly stipend, depends on location and classroom hours, books and supplies, depends on eligibility and financial aid assistance, equipment, depends on eligibility and financial aid assistance. The following are employment services. Helps participant log in for Department of Labor, job announcement and some employer applications, job search readiness, resume and cover letter development, assist in job application process, information for upcoming workforce trainings, interview tips, mock interviews, and also employment assistance for new employment until the first paycheck is received. Training. Work experience, job placement and training, computer lab, short-term training, workforce classes. GED and Adult Education Program. We offer GAIN for pre-testing, assessments, and diagnostic, for success on the GET test components, individualized instructions and support for the following: reasoning through language arts, mathematical reasoning, science, social studies. We also offer literacy and self-reliance workshops and classes. The Tribal Youth Education Program. TYP goals are to have educated tribal members, to build a skilled, qualified workforce, to reduce unemployment, to have a productive leadership, and to improve the community. Tribal youth education continued. Responsibility. The Tribal Youth Education Program shall be responsible to the Shoshone-Bannock tribes and the membership in its duty to deliver services to help youth attain measurable education outcomes. Our mission statement. The mission of the Tribal Youth Education Program is to increase student ISAT scores, decrease student absenteeism, decrease the student's dropout rate, increase high school graduation rates, and increase college preparedness of Indian students in the area. Program history. The Tribal Youth Education Program was created and implemented in the fall of 2005 to address and identify educational issues affecting local American Indian youth in kindergarten through 12th grade. Tribal youth education continued. Justification. Students need community support. Direct services and outreach are essential to address low academic performance, attendance problems, high dropout rate, increased student retention and the graduation rate, increased student college and career preparedness, also to increase academic readiness. Tribal youth education continued. Services offered. Other services will be provided depending on educational mandates and student needs. The following are services that we offer: advocacy for youth and families, referral services, home visits, classroom teacher observations, assist parents with academic resources, and assist families with special needs services. Incorporate culture into the classroom, assist with culturally responsive teaching, tutoring service and assist with student fees, aid to increase ISAT student scores, educational and career planning for students, advocacy for young at-risk youth with probation status and child protection issues, provide summer and after-school reading, also math programming, and also to provide leadership and mentor opportunities. TYAP Education Program Services K through 12. Advocacy for youth and families, provide resources for students and families, college and career planning, classroom teacher observations, assist parents with academic services, assist families with special needs and services, incorporate culture in the classroom, Indian Club Advisory, School District 25, provide leadership opportunities via Fort Hall Youth Council and activities, provide mentoring opportunities, summer school transportation, boarding school registration assistance, collaboration with local school districts, attendance follow-ups, academic reviews, public hearings, advocacy for risk youth with probation status, incarceration, and child protection issues, summer and after-school reading, math, and programming, financial assistance with paying fees, ED tours, student activity, backpack and school supplies, res-wide graduation recognition, and also Idaho Youth Challenge Academy. A service we also provide is temporary cash assistance. Temporary cash assistance serves needy families and individuals requiring services to meet their basic needs while working towards self-sufficiency. Temporary cash assistance is not a long-term assistance. The participants must be fully engaged in work activity and/or barrier removal. Work participation requires 20 to 25 hours per week and verified. This also requires a personal responsibility contract. Sanctions will be applied for noncompliance with PRC and work participation requirements. Maintain contact with your assigned case manager. Vocational rehabilitation. The vocational rehabilitation is a job assistance and readiness service that is designed to help Native Americans. Clients that sign on to the VR program must meet certain criteria by qualified personnel in order for them to be eligible for services. Clients must have a documented disability that would have a substantial impediment to employ them for the applicant. Potential clients who also need to meet with a certified VR counselor to determine what kind of services they will need. Please note that the services for VR is something that takes time to develop. Do not expect services as soon as you apply for them. Consumer Services Program. The Consumer Services Program is a supportive service program that helps with energy assistance, non-energy assistance, weatherization, and emergency services. Consumer Services' primary focus is to assist the most vulnerable of populations with energy assistance. Clients that are eligible for federal services like energy assistance is any federally recognized Native American. Clients that are requesting non-energy services have to be a member of the Shoshone-Bannock tribes. CSP Tribal Member Services. Supportive service request is based on needs, must be justified with supporting documentation such as a bill, invoice, or quote. Primary purposes of the supportive services are to remove barriers inhibiting a client's ability to focus on living needs, work, and education. Services are limited based on availability of funding. Most services are offered once every fiscal year, October 1st through September 30th. Consumer Services Priority System. The system has been developed to help the most vulnerable population around the reservation: elders over 62, disabled, families with small children living with them under the age of 6, low-income families or individuals, over-income Shoshone-Bannock tribal members. Priority system will be for applications, weatherization, wood, and limited funding. Consumer Services Program Emergency. Emergency services are situations that threaten the loss of life, limb, or property. The situation must be beyond control of the client. Emergency requests will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Example, natural disasters. Computer labs. Computers are located in the 477 office area in the old Fort Hall Casino in the computer lab area. Computers are also available for youth and available at the TYEP library. Participants are to follow rules and regulations as outlined in the Shoshone-Bannock Tribe's Internet Policy. Any illegal or unauthorized use of a computer may result in loss of computer privileges. Please log off and don't save anything on the computers when you are done. Note, please have your own flash or jump drive to save your information. Other services. Library is now located in the TYP building on the corner of Shoshone Street and Bannock Avenue. Local and other newspapers are available to read. Books are available for reading and also for checkout. Please be careful with all books, magazines, and newspapers. Please watch over your children when utilizing the library. This is a public service to the community. Reading is also good for the mind. The Adult Protection Program. The Adult Protection Services oversees 375 cases yearly addressing self-neglect, neglect, exploitation, and domestic elder abuse. They also assist with elder vulnerable adult protection orders, guardianship, power of attorneys, probates, Indian wills, and welfare checks. They also host the annual Taking a Stand Against Elder Abuse Prevention event. Date is always determined by the year prior. Adult Protection Program was recently added under the 477 Services Department. Marcia Hall and Valda Evening are the adult protection workers. They are also located at the old Fort Hall Casino. Processing services. Service requests to the client may take 7 to 14 working days in order to process. Emergency requests can be processed sooner, but it must be a legitimate emergency that compromises the safety of the client that was unforeseen and beyond their control. There will be no exceptions for missing orientation regardless of a shutoff or not. Vendor payments will be mailed to the Tribal Finance Program to the vendor per Tribal Finance policy. Do not call other departments like Finance Property, Debbie Dixie, Michelle Perdash, Ida Bronco, or Winina Boyer about your approval of services. There is a process we follow, and please be patient with our process. If you have any questions about your request, you will need to talk to your case manager. Payments. All payments will be processed in accordance with the tribe's financial policies and procedures. Energy assistant benefits will be processed weekly. Your approved benefit may not be posted to your energy account for 30 to 45 days. Remember not to wait until the shutoff day to apply for our services. Direct deposits. If you are on the direct deposit list for per capita payments assistance, they will be deposited into your bank account. Make sure that your account is not in the negative. Direct services cannot be recovered if your account is in the negative. Your bank account is your responsibility. If you do not have direct deposit or want to make other arrangements, a check will be processed for you. Checks will be distributed on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, depending on what services you have. Emergency situations. An emergency on your part does not constitute an emergency on our program. Even though emergency situations may happen, clients should plan accordingly and act quickly to avoid emergencies becoming worse than they are now. However, if the emergency is a risk a loss of life, limb, or property, we will do everything in our ability to assist you. Please keep in mind the sooner you bring in your request, the sooner we can assist with your request. Please do not procrastinate. If you bring in anything after 3 p.m., the likelihood of us assisting you is very low. There is also a 3 p.m. deadline and the power companies will cut off your power. You receive the bill in advance and don't wait until the last minute to look for services. Exceptions will be given to elders with an immediate threat or if their energy disruption is going to be turned off in their home. Appeal and hearing procedures. If you are denied services from the Consumer Services Program, you have the right to appeal the decision. A client must start the process within 10 working days of the date the denial occurred. Step 1. Appeal must be in writing to the Consumer Services Manager. Step 2. A meeting will be held between the Consumer Services Program Manager, Household Budget Counselor, and client immediately upon receiving the written complaint. If an appeal is not resolved, the process will then move to the next step. Step 3. A hearing shall be scheduled with the client and all the above parties involved with the 477 Human Services Program Director. This shall be the final process for the appeal. If any of the steps in where the Consumer Services Manager or the 477 Director sides with the client on the appeal process, the services will be authorized immediately. All complaints and appeals that are submitted to the Fort Hall Business Council or the executive offices are encouraged to follow the established appeal and hearing procedures. These procedures have been approved by the Fort Hall Business Council or the executive office and our grantor's agency. A copy of this procedure shall be issued to you at the end of the orientation or upon request. .477 Program Client Appeal Complaint Policy and Procedure. The Client Appeal and Grievance System. A participant who believes that their rights have been violated by any of the 477 program staff may file a complaint. A participant who is dissatisfied with an adverse case action may file an appeal. Each step of the appeal complaint procedure must be followed and filed within a specific time frame or the complaint will be dismissed. Procedure. Step 1. The participant must try to resolve the issue between themselves and the staff member or employee involved. If an application or participant is dissatisfied with the decision, they must first seek resolution with their case manager within 5 days of their decision. This meeting is an informed method to resolve an issue. However, if a resolution is not reached, the applicant or participant has an option to pursue a formal hearing. Step 2. Make a written appeal or complaint within 10 days of the decision. For a hearing with the appropriate program manager, the manager shall render a decision of the appeal within 5 working days. Then the applicant or participant may proceed to Step 3. Step 3. If the applicant or participant is dissatisfied with the manager's decision in Step 2, they do have the right to submit within 10 working days a written request for an administrative review with the 477 Human Services Director. Congratulations! You have reached the end of the orientation. Thank you for attending the 477 Human Services Department orientation. Let your facilitator know if you have any questions. Specific questions about your case should be directed to your case manager. Specific case information can only be released to the participant or client over 18. The following 2 slides are the 477 Human Services Directory. It has each individual employee that works for the department and the phone number they can be reached at.